All right, let's get over to Mike Eppel. We're talking about the end to the winning streak for Wall Street and Wal-Mart. Wal-Mart having a big role in this one. Good morning, Mike.
Yeah, good morning, Melanie. A rough start to this holiday-shortened work week for investors with the U.S. markets down quite a bit yesterday, with the Dow down 254 points. So the six-day winning streak comes to an abrupt end, and Wal-Mart had its worst day in 30 years. Dating back to 1988, the stock was down over 10% as the company's earnings guidance for this year was below expectations. Wal-Mart says it's seeing growth in e-commerce to fight against Amazon.com, but not at the pace that was previously thought. So investors took that stock sharply lower yesterday. The TSX was down 13 points. And as for the market volatility that we have seen so far for February, an ominous warning from brokerage house Morgan Stanley, saying those sell-offs that we saw earlier this month might be the appetizer to the main course of the market pullback this year, because of they're worried about rising bond yields, the fear of inflation, and interest rates going up. Ontario leads the way when it comes to the sale of electric vehicles on a provincial basis. Ontario in the lead in that category by a fairly wide margin, ahead of Quebec, but just 7,500 electric cars sold last year, according to some data by Fleet Karma. A lot of this has to do with the rebates that electric car buyers get from the province. Some talk that next week that maybe the federal government should consider cutting the GST from the sale of electric cars to ramp up the sale of those types of vehicles. And some interesting data moves by the provincial government in British Columbia yesterday in a budget there to cool off the red-hot Vancouver housing market. They have raised the foreign buyers tax from 15% going up today to 20%. Again, another step to try to alleviate some of the sales constraints in that Vancouver housing market. We'll send it over to Kevin at the desk.
So maybe words of warning, as if we needed anything about the housing bubble that's happening in Toronto, Mike, is from Visual Capitalist, a new report saying Toronto is ranked first in the world, as the city most at risk for a real estate bubble.
We're number one.
Yeah. But we don't want to be.
Well, again, we have seen the exponential rise in real estate prices. That is for certain, Kevin. But it comes back to demographics. It comes back to interest rates, supply and demand, market psychology. You know, how many people are coming in, the job market. There's so many factors and variables that we've heard talk of a bubble in the GTA real estate market for what? A decade now? So, again, these are comparables. If interest rates keep going up, that's a risk. The other fact is that Canadians have been using home equity lines of credit, borrowing against their homes to just pay for day-to-day purchases or renovations or what have you. And that, if in fact interest rates go up, that could be a trigger point for a slowdown in sales if we can't pay the bills. So a lot of variables, of course, in any of these types of studies.
Caveat emptor. Buyer beware. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.